The sky at 30,000 feet is both a graveyard and a cathedral, out there where the air thins and the earth curves away in. Blue silence, the line between survival and destruction is drawn by split. Seconds, instincts, and the weight of a name. Viewers, imagine this. You're strapped into a machine worth over $0.00 million, but in that moment, your life is worth less than the fuel in its tanks. One mistake, one flicker of hesitation, and you don't just lose the fight. You vanish into smoke and debris, scattered across an endless sky. That's where tonight's story begins. The Pacific stretched endlessly below, an ocean of molten gold as the sun bled into the horizon. Captain Elena Ramirez, call sign Valkyrie, flew her jet low. Above the cloud tops, the hum of her engine steady, her breathing controlled. She had flown hundreds of missions, some routine, some catastrophic, but nothing, not even her years of service, prepared her for what was about to happen. Her hood flickered. The radar flayed, two signatures closing in. They were high, fast, and stealthy enough that most pilots wouldn't have seen them at all. But Elena wasn't most pilots. She saw them the second they slid out of invisibility. Her stomach clenched. F-22, Raptors, the ghosts of the sky. They could lock onto you without warning, strike before you even knew they were there. And now both of them were painting her with targeting radars. Calm crackled to life. Sharp commanding. Unidentified aircraft. This is Raptor. Lead. You are in restricted airspace. Power down and prepare to divert. Non-compliance will be met with force. Elena's fingers hovered over her controls. She could brake left, dive hard, flare chaff, jam the lock. She had done it before, dodged missiles at, screamed through the night sky like banshees. But she paused. Something deeper inside her whispered, "Wait!" She exhaled slowly. This is Valkyrie. The sky fell silent. The radar lock vanished. The tone in her headset cut off like a throat being closed. For a heartbeat, she thought maybe her systems had failed. Maybe it was all a glitch. But then the Raptor leader's voice came back, stunned, hesitant, almost reverent. "Say again. Confirm your call sign." Elena's voice didn't waver. "Valkyrie." A long pause. "Then copy that." Breaking off. Her display cleared as the two Raptors peeled away, disappearing into the gold streak clouds as quickly as they had appeared. No shots fired. No pursuit. Just silence. But why? Why would the deadliest fighters in the world disengage instantly without orders? Simply because of a name? To answer that, we need to go back 6 years. Earlier, Afghanistan. A valley choked with dust, the sun sinking behind jagged mountains that cut the sky into shards. Then Lieutenant Elena Ramirez flew her F-16 with a squadron pinned down on the ground. Below, her comrades were surrounded, insurgents closing in with heavy fire. The radio calls were desperate. Men she trained with, laughed with, bled with, were moments from annihilation. Command ordered a retreat. "It's a kill zone. Do not engage." But Elena looked down at the valley, at the smoke, at the flashes of gunfire crawling closer and closer to her friends. Retreat wasn't an option. Not for her. She broke formation. Alone, she dove straight into the valley, engine screaming, the world vibrating as she dropped below the ridge line. The enemy fire lit up the sky, tracer rounds clawing at her jet. She should have turned back. She should have been dead. Instead, she danced her machine like a ghost. She strafed the ridges, cut down the advancing insurgents, and drew every eye skyward. Her wing was shredded, her fuselage pocked with holes. But she held for 45 minutes. She held until reinforcements arrived and pulled her squad out alive. When she landed, her superiors chewed her out, reckless, insubordinate. But to the men and women whose lives she saved, she wasn't reckless. She was a shield. She was death from above. There, salvation wrapped in steel wings. That night, they gave her a new name, Valkyrie, and word of that mission spread quietly in stories told across bases, in bars, in the back corners of briefing rooms. Pilots who'd never flown with her knew the story. Some owed there lives to her directly. Others had fathers, brothers, sisters who survived because she chose to disobey. It was more than a call sign. It was a legend, back to the present. Inside the Raptor, the lead pilot sat frozen after hearing her voice. His real name was Major Scott. Heron call sign Grizzly. He'd flown combat missions, aced every training, drill, and believed himself untouchable in the sky. But when that calm female voice said Valkyrie, something cracked inside him because Scott's father had served in Afghanistan, and his father never spoke of a war except once after too many drinks when he told his son about the day a single pilot defied orders and saved them all. Her name had been Ramirez, her call sign Valkyrie, and now years later, Scott found himself with his weapons locked onto her. His finger hovered near the trigger switch. He thought of the story of the faces of men his father never forgot. To fire on her felt like betraying a debt carved into blood and fire. He pulled his hands away. Wingman, break off, he ordered. No hesitation. His partner followed, because even if they didn't know her personally, every pilot in the sky knew some names are untouchable. Elena flew on in silence, her heart pounding as the horizon swallowed the Raptors. She never mentioned it in her debrief. Officially, it never happened. Her mission that night continued, and she completed it flawlessly as always. But sometimes when she sat alone, helmet on, the table, the hum of the bass around, her fading into the distance, she thought about it. Not the danger, not the radar lock, but the pause, the silence when her name crossed the radio. It wasn't fear that made them break off. It wasn't politics. It was respect. Respect earned in the Valley of Fire. Years ago, respect that turned her name into a shield stronger than steel. A weapon more powerful than missiles. Her legend had saved her life. Viewers, think about that. In a world where power is measured in speed, stealth, and firepower, sometimes the greatest force isn't technology. It's legacy. It's a memory of sacrifice carried across generations of warriors. Captain Elena Ramirez never sought fame. She never wanted to be a myth. She only wanted to fly, to guard the skies, to bring her squadron home safe. But her choices, her defiance in the face of death became a story too powerful to erase. And that is why when F-22s locked onto her jet at sunset, the lead pilot broke away. Because sometimes the sky itself remembers, and sometimes the weight of a single name can turn hunters into protectors. So the next time you hear a call sign whispered with reverence, remember, legends aren't written on paper. They are carved into the silence after battle. And tonight, you've met one of them. This was the story of Valkyrie. If this story gripped you, if it made you feel the heartbeat of courage and the chill of the skies, then stay with us. There are more legends waiting to be told. So don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe, because the next story might just be the one that makes you believe in legends all over again.